Before we dive into this inspiring tale, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories. In the quaint community of Cedarwood Haven lived Caleb Thorne, 21, after the tragic loss of his parents in 1982 when he was just 5. Caleb shouldered the weighty responsibility for his older sister, Lila Thorne, 23, nearing marriage, and his younger brother, Finn Thorne, 10, attending school. His days began before dawn, securing fresh produce from Blackwell Market. He sold it first by traversing Cedarwood Haven streets with his handcart until afternoon, his distinctive calls and quality making him a trusted vendor. Evenings found him at a stall near Thorne residence where weary villagers preferred his superior, albeit slightly pricier, vegetables. Caleb's tireless work ensured his family's well-being and Leela's hopeful wedding. Caleb's reputation as the go-to vendor for fresh produce continued to flourish in Cedarwood Haven. His handcart, piled high with vibrant greens and plump tomatoes, was a familiar and welcome sight on the village streets each morning. Villagers often waited for his distinctive call, knowing that even if his prices were a shade higher than others, the quality was unmatched. His evening stall near Thorne residence drew a steady stream of weary villagers who preferred his superior goods despite the slight premium. This unwavering loyalty from customers, however, did not sit well with everyone. Victor Reed, a burly man whose own produce stall often felt overlooked, watched Caleb with a scowl that rarely left his face. Beside him, Martha Hayes, sharp-featured and perpetually grim, silently fumed. Their own offerings, priced lower to attract the more frugal customers, simply couldn't compete with the genuine rapport Caleb built. "He thinks he's special," Martha would hiss to Victor, her dark eyes narrowed as she watched Caleb laugh easily with old Mrs. Gable, helping her select the ripest apples. They began to observe Caleb closely, lurking at the edges of the central square, noting his patient explanations about the origin of his carrots or his genuine interest in a customer's day. Victor even tried to smile once, a forced, uncomfortable grimace that only served to scare away a potential buyer. Martha attempted polite conversation, but her naturally sharp tone betrayed her. Their attempts to mimic Caleb's friendly, attentive approach fell flat, proving as unappetizing as their wilting lettuce. The failure only deepened their resentment, curdling into a dangerous cocktail of frustration and anger. "We can't just let him take all our business," Victor growled one evening, slamming his fist on his rickety counter. Martha's eyes gleamed with a cold, calculating malice. A scheme, dark and insidious, began to brew between them, aimed at driving Caleb Thorne out of Cedarwood Haven for good. The quiet hum of envy was about to turn into a much louder, more destructive force. Caleb's evening stall, a small but vibrant display of fresh produce near Thorne residence, drew a consistent crowd even as dusk settled over Cedarwood Haven. Among the usual faces, Caleb often noticed Agnes, her frail frame a constant presence, her silver hair pulled back neatly in a bun. She would linger, her deep-set wise eyes scanning the prices of his plump tomatoes and crisp greens, a quiet yearning in her gaze, but she never purchased anything. One evening, as Caleb was packing up the last of his handcart's bounty, he saw her again, her small stature almost lost in the growing shadows. "Agnes," Caleb called out gently, approaching her. "You often stop by? Do you live far from here?" Her shoulders hunched slightly. "No, young man," she murmured, her voice soft and a little raspy. "I live alone, and, well, I manage with what I can find, or what folks are kind enough to offer." Caleb's heart, always keenly aware of others' struggles, he didn't hesitate. Gathering a generous armful of leftover carrots, potatoes, and a head of cabbage, he presented them to her. "Please, Agnes, take these. They're on me." She looked at the vegetables, then at Caleb's earnest face, a silent battle playing out between her dignity and her obvious need. Finally, a fragile smile touched her lips, and she accepted the offering, her hand trembling slightly as she took the fresh goods. Unseen from the alleyway where their own meager stall sat empty, Victor and Martha observed the exchange. "Look at him," Martha hissed, her voice a low, venomous whisper, "giving away his profits to a beggar." Always playing the hero, Victor grunted, his burly fists clenching. "It's a show. That's what it is. He thinks he's so much better than us." Caleb's act of kindness, far from inspiring any warmth in them, only deepened their festering resentment, fueling the dark scheme they had been brewing. A few nights later, the air grew thick with a pre-winter chill, as Caleb navigated the winding, unpaved, whispering willow lane on his way home. The ancient willow trees, their branches now skeletal against the darkening sky, cast long, eerie shadows. Suddenly, two figures materialized from the gloom, blocking his path. Victor and Martha, their faces grim and set, emerged, their intentions clear and chilling. "Well, well, if it isn't the king of vegetables," Victor sneered, stepping closer, his imposing frame casting a large shadow over Caleb. Martha's dark eyes gleamed with malice. "We need to have a little talk, Caleb, about how you're ruining things for everyone else in Cedarwood Haven." Just as Victor reached out, a piercing, quavering cry tore through the quiet night. "Help! Leave him alone." Agnes, her silver hair, a faint halo in the dim light, appeared from behind a thick willow, her small figure surprisingly resolute. She had been following, worried after seeing Caleb leave so late. Her desperate shouts, echoing unexpectedly down the secluded lane, startled Victor and Martha. Their dark resolve momentarily broken by the unforeseen intrusion, they exchanged furious glances, then turned, and vanished into the enveloping darkness, their threats left unspoken, but lingering in the cold air. Caleb stood, shaken, but unharmed, his gaze fixed on Agnes. "Agnes," he breathed, the word a mixture of shock and overwhelming gratitude. You saved me." He saw her then, not just an elderly woman, but a beacon of courage. An idea, bright and warm, blossomed in his mind. "Agnes, you can't be out here alone. Please, come live with us. Lila and Finn and we have room at Thorn Residence. You'd be safe, and you'd be family." Agnes's wise eyes, usually holding a quiet sadness, welled up with tears as she looked at Caleb's earnest, hopeful face. The invitation was more than just shelter. It was a promise of belonging, a loving family she hadn't dared to dream of finding in her twilight years. She nodded slowly, a profound sense of warmth spreading through her frail body. Agnes walked beside Caleb toward Thorn's residence, her hand, though trembling, feeling strangely steady in the dim light of whispering Willow Lane. When they reached the modest cottage, the faint glow from within welcomed them. Lila was darning socks by the hearth, while Finn lay sprawled on the rug, engrossed in a book. Their faces lit up at Caleb's entrance, then shifted to surprise as they saw Agnes. "Lila, Finn," Caleb began, his voice warm. "This is Agnes. She'll be staying with us." Lila's kind smile softened as she took in Agnes's frail form, offering a gentle nod. Finn, ever curious, sat up, his bright blue eyes assessing their new guest, before a small, welcoming grin appeared. That first night, Agnes shared stories of Cedarwood Haven from decades past, her soft, raspy voice filling the small living room with an unexpected comfort. Her presence quickly wove itself into the fabric of their lives. Agnes, despite her age, helped Lila with mending and cooking, her quiet wisdom often offering a new perspective to Caleb's daily struggles. She listened patiently to Finn's school adventures and shared knowing glances with Lila about Caleb's tireless dedication. The once heavy silence of the evenings was now often broken by Agnes's gentle humming or Finn's laughter as she taught him a forgotten rhyme. Caleb found himself confiding in her, his burdens feeling lighter simply by being shared. Agnes brought not just companionship, but a profound sense of warmth and an unspoken understanding that deepened the bonds between the siblings, making Thorn Residence feel more like a true home than ever before. For Agnes, the small cottage was no longer just shelter, but a sanctuary filled with the loving family she had never dared to imagine. Her solitary life was replaced by shared meals, quiet conversations, and the embrace of genuine belonging. Victor and Martha, humbled and wary after their confrontation, seemed to fade into the background, their envious schemes unable to penetrate the quiet strength that now radiated from the Thorn home. Their venomous resentment had failed to break Caleb. Instead, it had unexpectedly brought an enduring blessing into his life. This tale of resilience, family, and unexpected kindness truly warms the heart, doesn't it? If you've been moved by Caleb and Agnes's journey, please show your support by hitting that like button and consider subscribing to our channel. For more uplifting narratives like this one,